press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Well, protests in India and a smaller protest on the same issue here in London with the presence of Narendra Modi for that Commonwealth meeting. Ishleen Kaur was watching them as well as the rest of a very busy day for the Indian Prime Minister and joins me now on the programme. And Ishleen, so you were there at the protesters. What are they actually calling for, the ones here in London?
So, Matthew, you know, the Prime Minister was greeted by relentless and angry protesters outside Downing Street. So, while the protest started with groups talking about the two brutal rapes that took place back home, they're very angry because they feel that the families have been denied justice. So, they think, well, they want the Prime Minister to break his silence over the issues. And as the day progressed, you could see a lot of organizations from different communities and religions. They were talking about freedom for their own religion and community. So, for example, the Dalits, the Sikhs, Muslim organizations, they were all talking about a separate homeland for themselves. And I think it was symbolic because basically they were talking about the minorities, the way the minorities are now treated in India. So,
and feeding into all of this is not just that they want to hear more from Narendra Modi, but also criticism of BJP officials and in terms of what they have been doing and how they've responded to these rapes and murders.
That's correct. So the involvement of the BJP leaders, you know, is also something that they're very unhappy about. And I mean, you could see placards where they said Modi is a butcher, he is a killer. So they were, you can see that they're very, very angry about it. And these are people who've lived here for years and their families back home. So they're worried that, you know, tomorrow it's happened to some, today it's happened to someone they don't know, but tomorrow it could be one of their family members. So it's, yeah, it's about the party being involved. It's about the Prime Minister not saying anything. And I think there's a fear of Hindu nationalism in India is why the minorities are, they feel scared.
And it's worth saying there were pro-Modi supporters there at the same gathering as well. Let's talk more about the politics because meetings with Theresa May, I mean, he's here for this Commonwealth meeting, but you can't help but feel that Brexit looms over everything in terms of conversations about how that relationship works post-Brexit, and Narendra Modi again has been talking about that today.
Of course. So they did, you know, talk about how they need to further enhance their cooperation on defense and cybersecurity, about combating terrorism. So all of that were discussed, but I think something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi pressed on was the visa liberalization, because that is something that New Delhi has been campaigning about. So he wants that Indian students who come here, process should be made easier for them so that they can stay here after, you know, they complete their courses. And Prime Minister May also updated Modi on UK's withdrawal from the EU. So she wanted to sort of give him the confidence that Indian companies and investors will have the current access to the market until the end of 2020. But as of now, these are the details that are with the...
and of course these two, they met before in India, where Prime Minister Modi has put that case. It's not just about student visas. They want a relaxation, more immigrants to come. We had the High Commissioner on this programme making exactly the same point, that if you want a deal after Brexit, these are the things that India wants.
Exactly, yes. So they do, obviously the student visa is a big issue, but the bigger issue is that they want more people to be allowed to enter the country.
Just a final quick thought, away from high politics, because earlier in the day Narendra Modi spent time with Prince Charles and was shown an exhibition here in London called Illuminating India.
Yeah, that's right, and they were celebrating 5,000 years of science and innovation. So it was actually very interesting because Prince Charles arrived in Jaguar Land Rover, and rather the first fully electric Land Rover. So I think it's very symbolic because Land Rover is a subsidiary of Tata Motors, which is an Indian-owned company. So also maybe suggesting the fact that how an Indian company also gives jobs in the UK. But I think what is interesting is looking at their body language, the way Prince Charles spoke about Ayurvedic medicines, he spoke about yoga, and they, the two also shared a laugh over, you know, various issues. So I think it was really interesting, maybe, you know, the way they shared a bond.
Yes, you know, I was reading sort of observers who were there and watching it saying there was a strong personal chemistry between the two. Ishleen Kaur, thanks very much for taking us through all of those different strands. Thanks very much.